All right, so we're diving into Walmart's latest earnings call, and there's a lot to unpack here. AI, omnichannel shopping, even a little fintech.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how Walmart is changing. They're not just a typical store anymore. They're kind of becoming this tech company, an advertising platform, even a delivery service.
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to be like the everything store for the 21st century.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is, it seems to be working. I mean, they just crushed their earnings this quarter. Sales profit, everything's up. It's pretty impressive. They had over 5% revenue growth, and operating income is up over 9%.
Wow, so 2 straight years of 5% plus sales growth. That's huge.
Yeah.
But what does all this growth actually mean for shoppers and for investors?
Well, for shoppers, it means they're gaining market share, and not just in one specific area. They're winning across the board in different countries, different income levels, both online and in their physical stores.
So they're kind of like figuring out how to win in this new retail world.
Yeah, exactly. They're really good at adapting.
So where are they seeing the biggest wins? What's working really well for them?
Grocery is always a strong point for them, but health and wellness is also doing really well, especially with those GLP-1 drugs. And get this, general merchandise is making a comeback.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, everyone was saying general merchandise was dead. It's interesting that Walmart's actually seeing growth there.
Yeah, it seems like people still need those new TVs and patio furniture, even with everything going digital.
And speaking of digital, their e-commerce is growing like crazy, right? They grew online sales by 16% this quarter. That's a massive jump.
Yeah, it's huge. Global e-commerce now makes up 18% of their total sales. That's a big change from just a few years ago.
That is a huge change. But isn't delivery super expensive? How are they making money with all this online growth?
Well, they're getting really smart about our deliveries. They're figuring out how to deliver to multiple houses on the same route, so they're basically making each trip more efficient. Plus, more and more people are choosing those faster delivery options, like the 1 hour or 3 hour delivery, which they charge a premium for.
Oh, that's clever. So they're making it faster and more profitable.
Exactly. And it's not just about online versus in-store anymore. It's about creating this seamless experience that blends online and offline shopping.
Yeah, the whole omnichannel thing.
Right. They're doing a really good job with that. They're giving shoppers the flexibility to shop however they want, online pickup, in-store delivery, and they're making it all work together seamlessly.
Okay, so they're doing well with the core business, but what about all those other ventures they're always talking about? The advertising, the marketplace, all that stuff.
That's where things get really interesting. These digital businesses are growing super fast and they're high margin, which means they make more profit for Walmart. This gives them more money to invest in other areas like keeping prices low, which just attracts more customers.
It's like a cycle of retail domination.
Pretty much.
Okay, but are people actually signing up for their membership programs like Walmart Plus and Sam's Club?
Yeah, they are. Walmart Plus is growing steadily, both in terms of membership numbers and how much people are using it. And Sam's Club is doing really well, too. They have record high membership numbers and renewals. It seems like people really like the value they're getting.
So they're doing well across the board, but they're also investing a lot of money, right? All that tech, the supply chain upgrades, increasing wages. Is it actually paying off?
It seems like it. Their return on investment is the highest it's been since 2016. So it looks like all that investment is actually generating real profits.
That's great to hear, especially with all this talk about inflation.
Yeah.
They're not letting that slow them down.
Not at all. They're managing their inventory really well. They're being flexible with their strategies, and they're not afraid to change things up if they need to. Plus, they're really committed to keeping prices low, which is huge for their customers.
So they're kind of defying the odds in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're proving that you can be successful even in a challenging environment.
Now, remember that Vizio acquisition? What was that all about? It seemed a little random.
It did seem random, right? But it's actually pretty smart. They're basically opening up a whole new world of customer reach and advertising opportunities. Vizio TVs are in millions of homes. So now Walmart can reach those customers directly. Plus, they're creating new revenue streams. They can do things like targeted advertising and offer streaming services.
So they bought a TV company to get into advertising. That's pretty innovative.
Yeah, they're thinking outside the box, that's for sure.
And what about their fintech venture in India, PhonePe?
They're getting ready for an IPO, which is a huge deal. It shows that Walmart is serious about expanding globally and becoming a player in high-growth markets.
So they're not just a U.S. company anymore.
Nope, they're becoming a global force.
All right, so they're growing, they're innovating, they're going global. It sounds like they're doing a lot of things, right?
Yeah, but of course, there are also some challenges and risks ahead. We'll talk about those in a bit.
All right, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after a quick break.
Sounds good. Yeah. It really is impressive how they're managing all of this at the same time, increasing their return on investment while also investing in their employees and keeping prices low. It's really a sign of their commitment and efficiency.
It's like they found that perfect balance. But the big question is, can they actually keep this up, especially with all the economic uncertainty we're seeing right now?
That's the question everyone is asking. Right now, they seem pretty confident. They're talking about their strong inventory management, their flexible strategies, and their ability to adapt quickly. But honestly, no one really knows what the future holds.
That's true, but there's another big thing we haven't even touched on yet. AI. It's like this wild card that could totally change the game for retail.
Imagine walking into a Walmart and everything is perfectly personalized for you. AI assistants helping you find the right products, recommendations popping up on your phone, even robots stocking the shelves. It sounds like sci-fi, but it's
Yeah.
actually becoming reality.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool, but also a little bit creepy.
Right.
But how is Walmart actually using AI right now? Are they actually doing something, or is it just all talk?
Oh, they're definitely doing something. They have this new AI agent called Learning that helps their merchants understand why things are out of stock or overstocked. It's like having a super smart detective working behind the scenes, and it's already making a big difference.
So AI is helping them run their stores better.
Hmm.
What about the tech side? Are they using AI to build better apps and websites?
Absolutely. They have new AI tools that are helping their developers write code faster and with fewer mistakes. They actually estimate that these tools saved them 4 million developer hours last year.
4 million. That's insane. It's like they gave their entire tech team a year off.
Not exactly a year off, but it definitely frees them up to focus on more important things. And they're actually planning to roll out these AI tools to all of their developers in North America and India this year. It's like they're building an army of supercoders.
Okay, I'm impressed. But let's zoom out for a second. We've talked a lot about the US, but what about Walmart's global ambitions? What's going on with PhonePe in India?
PhonePe is about to become a really big deal. Their IPO is a clear sign that Walmart wants to be a major player in the digital payments market in India. Millions of people in India use PhonePe for their everyday transactions. It's a huge opportunity.
So they're going from selling groceries to changing the world of finance. That's quite a leap.
It is a big leap, but it seems to be working. PhonePe is growing really fast, and the IPO is expected to make billions of dollars for Walmart. They're not just expanding their business, they're becoming a major force in the global digital economy.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the potential risks and challenges for Walmart. Even though they're doing well, there are always going to be some bumps in the road, right?
Of course. One big risk is the overall economic situation. Inflation is still a problem, and if the economy gets worse, people might start spending less, which could hurt Walmart.
That's a good point. But Walmart is known for their low prices, and they've been through tough times before. Do you really think they're that vulnerable?
They're definitely in a better position than a lot of other retailers, but they're not immune to what's happening in the economy. They're also facing a lot of competition. Amazon is still a big rival, and there are always new companies popping up. It's a constant fight for customers.
But doesn't Walmart have some big advantages, like their huge size and all their loyal customers?
They do. They have a massive network of stores, a sophisticated supply chain, and a reputation for offering good value. It's hard to beat that. But they can't just sit back and relax. The world of retail is changing all the time, and they need to keep innovating if they want to stay on top.
What about those tariffs we keep hearing about? Could those hurt Walmart?
Tariffs are definitely a tricky issue. The trade war with China has already made them raise prices on some products, and if things escalate, it could really impact their profits.
But aren't they trying to find ways to get around that? Like diversifying their suppliers and negotiating better deals?
They are. They're exploring different options and trying to minimize the impact. But tariffs are complicated, and there's no easy fix.
So it's something to keep an eye on. What about sustainability? How's Walmart doing in that area?
They're making progress. They're investing in renewable energy, reducing waste, and trying to make their packaging more sustainable. They're also working to improve working conditions in their supply chain.
So they're actually taking it seriously. It's not just for show.
It seems like they're genuinely committed. They've set some big goals, and they're making real changes. They understand that sustainability isn't just good for the planet, it's good for business, too.
That makes sense. Customers are definitely becoming more aware of these issues. Okay, let's talk about groceries. Walmart is the biggest grocery store in the U.S., but they're facing competition from online delivery services and those fancy specialty stores. How are they staying ahead?
They're fighting back by innovating. They're expanding their online grocery pickup and delivery services, offering more fresh and organic options, and even trying out some new store formats. They're realizing that convenience is really important for busy shoppers.
And what about their own brands? Those are still a big part of their strategy, right?
Absolutely. Their own brands give them higher profit margins, and they offer customers a cheaper alternative to the big name brands. They're investing in quality and expanding their selection.
It's like they're creating their own little world of brands within Walmart.
Mm.
Okay, I have to ask about their healthcare stuff. It seems like they're trying to be the place to go for everything, including doctor's appointments.
They're definitely making moves in healthcare. They've opened clinics in some stores offering basic medical services at affordable prices. They're also working with insurance companies and exploring new ways to shake up the healthcare industry.
It's a bold move, but it makes sense. Healthcare is expensive, and Walmart is all about saving people money. But healthcare is also really complicated, and there are a lot of rules. Do you think they can actually make a difference?
It's hard to say for sure. They're facing some big challenges, but they have a history of disrupting industries. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Okay, let's talk about their real estate strategy. They have so many stores, but some of them are in not so great locations. What are they doing to adapt?
They're not afraid to close stores that aren't doing well, and they're remodeling others to make them more appealing and efficient. They're also getting creative with their real estate, renting out space to other businesses, and trying out mixed-use developments.
So not just holding on to their property, they're actively managing it.
Mm.
What about the overall customer experience? How are they improving things for shoppers?
They're putting a lot of money into technology to make the experience smoother and more personalized. They're upgrading their website and app, adding self-checkout kiosks, and using digital signs to make it easier for people to find what they're looking for.
So they're using tech to make shopping less stressful and more enjoyable.
Exactly. They're also focusing on training their employees to provide better customer service. They know that happy customers are loyal customers.
Speaking of efficiency, what are they doing to improve their supply chain? That's always been a big part of their success.
They're constantly working on their supply chain. They're using automation and robotics in their warehouses, and they're using data to optimize their inventory and delivery routes.
So they're basically using technology to make everything faster and more efficient.
Exactly. They're all about efficiency, and they're always looking for ways to reduce costs and improve delivery times.
Okay, last question before you move on to the fun stuff.
Yeah.
What about diversity and inclusion? How's Walmart doing in that area?
They're making progress. They've set goals to increase the number of women and minorities in leadership roles, and they're trying to buy products from more diverse suppliers.
So it sounds like they're taking it seriously.
Seems like it. They're putting their money where their mouth is and making a real effort to create a more inclusive environment.
All right, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. It's time to shift gears and have some fun. It's time for our This Is Not Financial Advice segment.
This is all hypothetical, of course.
Of course. But just imagine this. What if you invested in Walmart and at the same time bet against a struggling department store chain? Walmart is clearly taking over, and as they get even better with technology, their profits could really explode.
It's an interesting idea, but remember, always do your own research and don't make any investment decisions based on what you hear on a podcast.
Good advice. But it's definitely something to think about as we watch Walmart continue to evolve.
Absolutely. Their journey is a great example of how companies can adapt, innovate, and focus on their customers to be successful.
All right, so that wraps up our deep dive into Walmart's Q4 2025 earnings call. What are your final thoughts on this retail giant?
Walmart is a company that never stops innovating. They're always pushing the limits of what's possible in retail, and they're not afraid to take risks. They're a force to be reckoned with, and I'm really curious to see what they do next.
It's amazing how they've managed to stay relevant and even thrive in a world where so many traditional retailers are struggling. They're not just adapting, they're shaping the future of retail.
They're a perfect example of how a company with a long history can reinvent itself and become a leader in the digital age.
I want to go back to something you said earlier about their focus on ROI. It's impressive how they're investing so much in technology, wages, sustainability, and still making a lot of money.
It's a tough balancing act, but they seem to have figured it out. They understand that investing in their employees' technology and sustainability is the right thing to do, and it's good for their business in the long run.
It's really refreshing to see a company thinking about the long term when so many others are focused on short-term gains. They're playing the long game, and it seems to be paying off.
Absolutely. They're showing everyone that you can be profitable and still do good things. It's a great example for other businesses.
Well, that's a great way to end this conversation. Thanks for joining us today for this deep dive into Walmart's Q4 2025 earnings call. It's been a fascinating discussion, and I hope everyone listening learned something valuable about this incredible company.
It's been great sharing my thoughts with you, and as always, keep learning, keep exploring, and stay curious.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Until next time, happy investing.
Yeah, it really is amazing to see how they've managed to stay on top of their game and even do better than before. In a world where so many other stores are having trouble, it's like they're not just changing with the times, they're actually creating the future of retail.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. They're a great example of how a company that's been around for a long time can still change and become a leader in the digital world.
I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about their focus on ROI. It's pretty impressive how they're investing so much money in all these different areas like technology, employee wages, and sustainability.
Mm.
But they're still seeing those great returns.
Yeah, it's definitely a balancing act. But they seem to have found a way to make it work. They get that investing in their people in technology and in sustainability is not only the right thing to do, but it's actually good for business in the long term. Yeah, and that's a pretty refreshing perspective to see these days when so many companies are just focused on making a quick buck. It's like they're thinking about the big picture, and it seems to be working for them.
Absolutely. They're proving that you can be profitable and still have a positive impact on the world. It's a good lesson for other businesses out there.
Well, that's a great point to wrap things up on. Thanks for joining us today for this deep dive into Walmart's Q4 2025 earnings call. It's been a really interesting conversation, and I hope our listeners got some good insights into this retail giant.
It's been a pleasure being here and sharing my thoughts. And as always, I encourage everyone to keep learning, keep asking questions, and never stop being curious.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Until next time, happy investing.